Whoa! What's going on? 5 Dice Friday is here. It's my favorite day of the week. Lies. Favorite day of the week is Monday. But those of you who watch me a lot know that. 5 Dice Friday is where I talk about the 5 burning topics on my mind. Today, if you guys look right over there, or over here, you can see the 5 topics that I'm going to be talking about today on 5 Dice Friday. Thanks for joining me today. I keep doing this. I keep using the wrong microphone when I start this. I get so excited that I use the wrong microphone. Stand by. But because I'm using an awesome tool, just completely fixes the audio immediately. So that's important. You got to be able to hear. And so let me just check. Yep, it switched over. Sounds so much better now, doesn't it? See, actually, I was just fooling you guys to show you that you can mess up and still recover. So, looking to my left or my right, I don't know which one it is, but you can see those are the 5 things that we're going to talk about today. So let me first start with this. So, growing up, one of the most respected or competitive athletes that I think most of us probably saw was this guy, Lance Armstrong. And many of you guys may know that he did some crazy stuff and got in a lot of trouble for cheating. That wasn't like he wasn't cheating. I was just saying that he cheated. Now, what's interesting about this whole thing is he has, at the time, everyone was like, oh my God, he's never going to recover, whatever. If you're starting to notice, he's kind of starting to recover, and he's starting to get some attention again. And he started this podcast. I can't think of the name of it, but he's got some really cool guests on it. And my point is this, is that being resilient is something that is incredibly powerful. And understanding that just because something is super wrong right now doesn't mean that you can't recover and get through that thing. Even someone like Lance Armstrong, who so many people said would never recover, has not only recovered, but is, I think it seems like financially starting to be stable again. And so, hopefully you don't do anything crazy. But it is a point to say, hey, bad things do happen. We do make mistakes. Sometimes we lie about certain things. I'm not saying to do any of those things. My point of this is you can recover because society allows you to. And just a couple of years later, it seems like he's becoming okay. So, the reason I brought this up is because there's this podcast of his that popped up, and I don't remember why it popped up, but I started listening to it a couple of times, and it's a pretty cool show. It's pretty interesting. But he talks to people who I guess were similar from an athletic standpoint or a competitive standpoint, and he really talks to them about some of the process that they go through. And but it's interesting because years ago everyone was wearing the yellow Livestrong bracelets, and then everyone basically shunned him and said, "Get out." They blacklisted him. But now a couple years later, it seems like he's starting to recover, and people are starting to talk about him again. So if things aren't going okay, I think you can recover. Have you heard about this? So there's number 1. Number 2, have you heard about this? Netflix is spending some crazy amount of money, something like $7 billion, and they are creating over 700 new shows and original programming for 2018 alone. That's ridiculous. We're going to wind this back into interpersonal communication and do 2 and 3 together. So people are wondering why society and kids aren't the same anymore. Well, there you go. Netflix is spending billions of dollars on original content. Now, I get it. They're a business. They got to do that. I'm a business. You want all these things to be great for your business. But think about that. They are literally trying to get people just to be glued to their phones, to their iPads. I just threw something in the air. iPad 2, their computers, their TVs. That's what they're trying to do. And what's amazing is they've created this thing called bingeable content. And so we as a society, if we want to fix these things, I'm not saying don't watch Netflix, don't not, consume content. I'm just saying, from an interpersonal communication standpoint, like me and my friends growing up, we hung out outside every day. And it sounds like and seems like that's not happening anymore. I was watching something as well with Charlize Theron, and she was saying that people aren't necessarily going to the movie theaters anymore. It's not like they don't want to consume content, but creators and producers need to go where that content is being consumed. It sounds like butts and seats is where that's happening. And so when I have kids, I'm going to encourage them to play outside every day. And if we want to see this interpersonal communication thing get back, people have got to get off of this, and more into the one-on-one communication. So I try and have conversations with people every single day. Yo, what's up, everyone? It's your boy, Zack Miller, episode 20 of Zack Miller Live. And like every Friday, it's 5 Dies Friday. So you're going to start to see that the 2, 3, and 4 kind of gel together. So there's this new thing by a company called Light, it sounds like, where they're from Brooklyn, New York, and they just created this thing called the Light Phone 2. They were raising money on Indiegogo, trying to raise about $250,000. And I don't know when they started, but it's been 17. They got 17 days left, and they're just under $850,000. This phone that they call the Light Phone 2 literally just does messages and a phone. That's it. People say it's for parents who want their kids not to be on their phones all the time, but all you can do is literally make a phone call and text message. I don't think there's any videos or anything like that. And it's kind of cool. And what I like about it is not only have they raised a lot of money, you guys could check out the campaign. Let me post it in the show notes. Bam. I'll do that right now. Obviously, consume the rest of this first and then go look at the thing. But it's really interesting because if you are concerned about society, your kids, or not wanting to be consumed by your phone all day, this new phone, which I don't even know how much it costs. Let's look. You can get a family of 4 for $850. I don't know what the carriers are or anything like that. But you got an opportunity to get one phone, the Light Phone 2, for $250. 2,113 people have gotten it so far. Check it out. It's pretty interesting. You know, maybe there are too many features on the phones. Maybe we are being consumed by these things too much. And it is nice to maybe see us get back to reality like this. I remember when, and I've said this many times, when smartphones came out, I was appreciative that we were finally getting some of, hopefully, the interpersonal communication back with features like Skype or FaceTime, where you could actually see someone and not just have to text. There's nothing worse than being at a table at a restaurant or hanging out with your friends and all people are doing is on their phones. It's kind of ridiculous. So Netflix creating 800 plus shows, 700 plus shows for 2018 alone. New content, original content, so series, documentaries, regular movies, etc. That seems like a lot. Spending $8 billion or something like that. Number 3, kind of winds into this. People need to start thinking about interpersonal communication a little bit more. Get out, have conversations with people. If you heard my conversation earlier in the week about being thankful and saying hello to people, like, we need to be proactive in that. I was at a car dealership all morning getting my wife's car repaired, and I sat there and I smiled and said hello to everyone who walked by. You know what happened? The majority of them ignored me, but that's okay. I am trying to start this movement called the Thank You Movement, where all you have to do is when you walk by someone, doesn't matter who they are, say hello, smile, open the door for them, say thank you. If they're at the grocery store, help them with their groceries into their car. Just make it easier for people. Come on, guys. Mark Rowan, what's happening? Hope you're doing well. Katie Clapp, Edwin Street, Erica Mack. Erica, I know that's not your last name. And finally, okay, so Lance Armstrong, basically the whole point there is he's got a new podcast out. It's been out for a little while, but it seems like he's starting to get some attention again. And bad things can happen. We can be pretty bad people and still recover because America allows us. The society allows us. Netflix is creating a crap ton of content. What kind of content are you looking for? I've told you I'm looking for Saved by the Bell, the remix. Probably going to happen now. Interpersonal communication. People got to get out. Let's create the thankful economy. And number 4, this new phone called the Light Phone 2. You can check it out on Indiegogo. I have posted it right here on the comments. Pretty cool phone that all you can do is make a phone call and text. I like that idea. And finally, I've been thinking about this a lot. And actually, the question that I've been getting, so if you're following the whole Kickstarter thing that I'm doing, the number one question I'm doing, or the whole book thing, a lot of questions, the number one question I'm getting around is, why are you writing Anomaly? But then this other question that keeps coming up is kind of interesting. Well, how did you get a book deal? And to me, like, I think people, I was talking with my buddy Alan Branch this morning, who will have a piece in the book and a case study about what he's done. And what's interesting is he's like, yeah, people are looking for the 6-week fix. And I was like, they are. And so people think that, like, you can get these things done in 6 weeks. And I'm like, yeah, people are asking me why or how did I get a book deal? Well, I've been doing the exact same thing for 10 years. I've just been focused. You know, and if had I presented to the publisher, had I presented to the TV show, had I presented to anyone about an opportunity, I'm trying to start getting bigger speaking gigs. As you continue to mature as a business, a brand, a personality, whatever you want to call it, more of those opportunities are going to happen because it just happens over time. More people are going to see you. When people are like, well, how do we see you, Zach? Well, it's because I've been like tunnel visioned and focused on, I'm going to help people. I'm going to smile. I'm going to, do a damn good job when I'm on stage or doing the Zach Miller live show, And we can't look at these things and say, it's going to work when I make $1 million. It's going to work when I have 1 million followers or whatever it is. And even though those might be goals, that can't be what you define as success. You have to find something else that defines success. And if you're defining success as this thing that is such a crazy, audacious goal, but you can be happier in the moment, like, that's something that I think is a lot more important. And so, like, my goal is just to always help people, right? And to be happy while I'm doing that and to change people's lives. And I know that a lot of people that are watching right now have been able to do that, and I appreciate that. And I'm thankful that I've been able to do that. And I think it's very important that we do set realistic goals, because when we do achieve them, they'll help us get bigger and crazier goals. And I don't know if it's a psychological thing or what, but I always know that when I hit a lot of little goals, it makes me want to do more. And so, like, I've worked out, like, think like every day this year except for one day. And I know you can tell in this beautiful physique. You probably can't. But the point is if you create a habit, if you create this repetition, if you create a series of really small things over and over again and you win them, what's going to happen is you're going to want to keep doing that thing over and over and over again, whatever it is. That thing could be, eating junk food, not working out, not working, being stupid, right? Or it could be like, hey, I'm working out, I'm writing 1,000 words a day, I'm, talking to 5 new people, whatever it might be, creating a bigger network, making sure that you chime in on XYZ amount of Twitter post or get on different podcasts or whatever it might be. Like, figure out what that thing is that you want to do and try and get closer to it every single day. Ripped. Yes, I'm ripped. But look, the key here is to be focused and figure out, what that is. And so when I get asked, how do you get a book deal? How do you get on TV? Like, yes, I raised my hand for those things. And those are absolutely things that you have to do. But you have to play this long game. You have to realize that this isn't going to happen overnight. It's just not. And some of the bigger things take time and they're challenging. And if you want an action to happen, you absolutely have to create that action. You absolutely have to raise your hand and make it happen, because no one's going to come calling you. But at the same time, you have to position yourself and do something for a very long time to get yourself into that position. Why do you think it takes so long for athletes to become professional athletes? because they have to train for so long. And that's ultimately what you're doing, or what I've been doing is I'm training for a really long time. So for the better part of the last decade, I've been positioning and training myself and those around me to get closer to those goals. And look, some of these things aren't goals. A goal, like when I got the TV show, that was not a goal. Like, oh, host TV show. Nope, definitely not a goal. Get published book. Nope, that was definitely not one of them. And so what's so important is you just have to, stay in your lane. But I'm not saying don't be the anomaly, right? I'm just saying be focused in that lane and figure out, okay, how do I ensure that I'm getting closer to these things, these steps that I want to get to every single day? So when Edwin says pioneering with you, Edwin, coffee sales, it might not be coffee sales forever, right? It might be something else related with community and coffee, but you're going to be known as the coffee and community person. And I think that's really important. Mark Rowan, for example, really associated with dreams and is trying to position himself around dreams and content around dreams. Me, it's around, being the anomaly, helping people get exposure and and helping businesses and brands and people kind of become what they want to. And that's what I've been doing and positioning for the last decade, right? And so what's something that you didn't know about yesterday that you know today, right? Maybe it's something about me. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's something that you just learned. The point is that there is no overnight success, and whoever's telling you that there is or that you can, especially if they're trying to charge you for it, they're an absolute moron. You hear me getting passionate. I mean, anyone that's saying that is an absolute moron. I'm sorry. Like, these things do not happen overnight. They take years to develop, not only you internally, but for the world to understand and see you at the same time as well. And so when you look at some of these positions or opportunities that I've been able to tackle and figure out, it's because I've been doing the same thing over and over again. And so one of the parts in the book is about creating repeatable, findable, searchable content. And if all you're doing is, if you have to be doing this thing, whatever your topic, whatever your keyword is, you have to be creating content around that topic. You have to be creating conversations around that so that when people talk about you, consume you, whatever it might be, that they're talking about that thing. They're talking about those topics, because if they're not, you don't want to be associated with the wrong keywords or scenarios. And so you can really tell that story. And I think that's insanely important. Insane in the membrane. But think about it, right? Like right now, and we've said this a couple of times, like, what are the words that people think about you? So, we've done it for me. Like, when you think about me, what are the words that you associate with me? Do the same thing to you. Like, go ask your community. Go ask your friends and followers. When they think of, Mark Rowan or Edwin Street or Zack Miller, what are the words associated with that? And if those words are not what you want to be associated with, you have to start forming your brand around that. Corey Shelton was posting on LinkedIn a few days ago about, you have to be proactive in your brand. You're absolutely right. But we all are brands. And if we want a different message to be out there, we have to make sure that message is getting out there, right? I want people to know that I have fantastic hair. And I only put my hair on for the show every day. I want people to be like, he has the best hair in the universe. You guys like this beard that I'm growing too? I know that you do. Like, I say things like this, right? Because I want people to realize that I'm not boring and stale, and I'm not like, hello. Good evening. This is your nightly news. Like, that to me is like ridiculously boring. And if you don't like it, cool. Move on and find someone that you do. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Actually, I was talking to Alan Branch about that this morning, and he was like, he's had customers that have said, your content or your this, the way that you're marketing this is really unprofessional. And to Alan, it's just who he is. And to me, it's not even being unprofessional. It's just not status quo like. And so he's like, cool, thank you. Like, have a nice day. And doesn't even try and make that person a customer. Like, stop trying to please everyone and find that following. Find those friends that appreciate you for what you are. He says, you really have to break social boundaries. I had a conversation with him this morning while I was getting my wife's car fixed. I mean, I took so many notes. I've always respected this guy. I've known him for a decade. And it's really exciting stuff to hear some of the stuff that he says. I'll give you a sneak peek, I guess. And he said, don't treat your, and this is not going to be on a 1004 show. So this is like an exclusive piece, but it'll be in the book. Don't look at your Twitter following as followers. Don't look at, if you're at a conference, your network, look at them as friends and try and create friendships with people. And oftentimes people will say to me, hey, why are you saying hi to me? I just saw that Burt Burgeon has come on, and I'll every so often reach out to him and say, hey man, what's up? And people are like, why are you doing that? And I'm like, well, we've had a conversation in the past, and I just want to make sure everything's okay, or see what's going on, or offer value or opportunities. And occasionally I'll say, hey, we have this thing, would love for you to attend, or buy my book, whatever it might be, get access to this thing. But ultimately it's because I'm genuinely interested in these people. And that's not a hard thing to do. It's not hard to genuinely care about people, because when you do, guess what? They'll, number one, engage back and help you as well. And so do I make a conscious effort to create friendships with people? 100%. But it's because I want to have those relationships with them. I want to have those friendships with them. I was at a restaurant the other day, and my waitress said, you have a lot of friends. I go to a very similar place a lot, and it's usually different people every time. And she was like, you have a lot of friends. I was like, I guess. I'm just trying to help people, man. Have a lot of friendships. When the world is ready for your style, you would have pioneered it. Anti-bandwagon. Blah, blah, blah. Anti-bandwagon. Can't speak today. So Alan says, it's about doing thousands of little things that ultimately 10 years later you go, wow, look at what I've done. That's why I think reflection is so important. And reflection is something that I really value. And I think that you guys should start to do it and really start to understand how you can do it yourself. And so, what do you love? When are you the happiest? And are you creating a lifestyle around that? It's episode 20 of Zack Miller Live. If you guys have not yet, we'd love for you guys to subscribe to this wherever you are watching, so that when it comes up live every time, you can get it, or when we share it, you can get it. If you guys have comments, feel free to ask them in the comments. If you like what you're seeing and you have some friends that you think would benefit this, share it with them. That would be awesome. Be super appreciative of that. I mean, at the end of the day, life is really freaking short. I love my life. I love my family. I love my friends. I love my dog who's sleeping right next to me. I'm happy that I can make a big impact, and I want a lot more to go. But I live my life like it potentially could be its last every single day. And I'm not necessarily terrified of dying or anything like that, but I know that I can do a lot more in life, and I want to. And so when we talk about focus, I'm focused. And if I haven't reached out to you in a while and you just want to say what's up, say hello. Would love to hear from you. That's it for this week of Zack Miller Live. We're going to be rolling into wow, are we rolling into week 5? Wow, that's going to be awesome. We'll have our 21st edition of Zack Miller Live coming up Monday. I appreciate you all consuming, engaging, and being here each and every day. Like I said, over the last few days, we're trying to hone in on a time. Not exactly sure what it's going to be yet, but at some point, it's going to be a regular time. Every day, it'll be live. And then we do also post this on all of our podcasts as well, or all your normal podcasting places, so that if you don't catch it live, you can still get that. And so that's another thing about content, where are people consuming it? So we do it here on Facebook Live, then it goes up onto all the podcast mediums, and then it also goes onto YouTube as well. And so if you guys have noticed, or maybe this will be me telling you, because we did it yesterday, I believe, we've kind of started to rebrand just that one channel, the 1004 Show, to more something along the lines of Zack Miller Says, Says. And so the YouTube channel is that. We might be getting a new domain around that. But then from a podcasting, if you're listening just on audio, you're going to be getting twice a week at this point, long form interviews, the 1004 Show, where we've been doing that. And I think we just released, I don't know, our 85th or 86th edition today. I don't remember which one it was. I'm going to tell you what it is. But we're rolling into, 3 figures on that, and that's been a lot of fun. That show is, it's been a big impact for me, having great conversations with people. We just released episode 85. Actually, I think I have like 20 episodes in the can right now that either need to be recorded or need to be edited, or they've already been uploaded but just not released yet. And I mean, think about that, right? I mean, it's about continuity. It's about expectations. And so if someone's expecting you every day or every few days to release something, and then you don't, you set a bad expectation. And so, right now we're at 2 a week on the 1004 Show, Tuesdays and Fridays at 10 a.m. That could change in the future. I got 20 episodes in the can that need to get out. And let me tell you, like, these upcoming 20 episodes, like, no offense to everyone else before, but man, this is the best group of 20 episodes that we've had. And collectively, right? And so it's been a lot of fun. I think I'm getting a lot better at question asking. And, as the best interviewer in the world, that's something that's important. But, I'm willing to dig deeper with people, ask them kind of random questions that are interesting and seem to get good feedback, and even kind of make my guest kind of have to think a lot more, which is really exciting for me, because I think that's what makes a really good host a good host or an interviewer. Because if the person knows what to expect, it's kind of canned, it's kind of scripted, and it's not scripted, and neither is this show, right? Nothing I do will probably ever be scripted, except for maybe the intros for my TV show. But my interviews aren't scripted on that. They're not on the 1004 Show. And what you get here, like, I had a couple of notes about the stuff with Lance and Netflix and communication and the non-smartphone and focus. But that's what I'm good at, is I'm good at being non-scripted. Not everyone's good about that. And so, but if you guys are expecting something every day, if I say daily, I'm going to do this daily, and I don't do it, like, I look like a schmuck, and that's not a good thing. Like, your reputation is important. And so if you want to get out one piece of content a month, don't set your goal to do 50 pieces of content a month, because you're not going to be able to. You just won't. But also remember that, as I've said this many a times, I got a journalism degree, to be on TV and stuff like that. And what I recognized was that medium was wrong, but I had the vehicle to do. I had the opportunity to, get in front of people just a different way, through audio and video online, not necessarily through your traditional news organization. And so that's something that I've really started to understand and have been trying to improve upon to make sure that people can find me. And so, and I can tell those stories and help people out and do all that, because ultimately that's what's important to me, is to help as many people as possible. How about Says? It's hip and cool. I don't understand Says. What does that mean, Mark? I have no idea. But figure out what you're good at. Like, for example, right? I remember I was talking to Edwin, who has a Facebook page called Coffee Sales, and it's a community of coffee goers to educate and learn more about the coffee world. And Edwin's been trying a series of different kind of avenues in the coffee world, whether it's telling stories, hosting events at different locations, or kind of going over what coffee is. And he was just posting these videos and these live videos, and they didn't give any context of what it was. And I saw that going out, and I just reached out to him. And this is what I mean by just like being nice to other people. And I said, "Hey, Edwin, hope you're doing well, man. Really appreciate you posting this content out. It's good content. I think there's something missing. Here's what you can do to improve upon it. Give it a little bit of copy in the description. Tell if you're going live somewhere, make sure people know exactly what they're consuming or getting into. Because if you just post a video and it goes live and no one knows what they're watching, they might not stop. And so here, today we go, it's 5 Dice Friday, the 5 things on my mind. It'll probably almost always say something similar to that. But then if I was talking about, are you thankful? Or, use this tool to improve your social media habits, whatever it might be. Those are things just to give it a little bit more depth, a little bit more body. Mark says, Zack says, I don't think so, buddy. That's not what the cool kids say. Just kidding, I appreciate the input. But we're not changing it. Because no one is spelling like that, are they? That would be ridiculous. It's episode 20 of Zack Miller Live. We talked about the things on my mind right now. If you want to push back or want more clarity, hit me up in the comments, whether you're watching this live or at a later time. I, of course, will answer. And I appreciate you being here. If this is something of value and you guys like consuming it, we'd love for you guys to subscribe so that you can get it every day. All the cool kids. Well, I was never a cool kid, and I'm not trying to be one. Appreciate your time. I hope you guys have wonderful weekends. Spend them with your family. Spend them with your loved ones because they mean a lot to you. And it's important to spend some quality time with them. I know I'm going to do that with mine this weekend. And I hope that you guys all have safe weekends. West Virginia is going to win the Big 12 this weekend. So I'm excited for that. We got a big game against Texas Tech tonight. We're 2-point favorites, which I'm shocked at. But whatever you did last night, Mark Rowan, do the exact same thing for this game because we need to win. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you watching, consuming, and being a part of this. I appreciate our friendship. You guys really mean the world to me. And I would love to help you however I can. So be sure if you have questions or need clarity or anything like that, simply comment or hit me up in the DMs. I appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful and tremendous weekend. Until Monday, Zack Miller out. Peace.